Hey guys, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new Cosmic Pearl luxury palette of pearls from Charlotte Tilbury, which I'm super excited about. I already reviewed the Celestial Pearl. I will be comparing them as well in this video so you guys can tell which one is maybe better for you and you want to pick one up and when you're deciding that. But this is a very beautiful quad from Charlotte. It actually launched after the first one, which was kind of interesting. But let's get into the review on this one. I'm super excited to dive right in. I do have it on my eyes today and I'll show you the look I created with it, but I also have some thoughts for you that might change your mind. So let's get started. So right off the hop, I do want to share always the outer packaging of these products, especially the luxury makeup products, because I do feel like some of them are really luxurious, beautiful packaging that I think needs some spotlight, like some attention, because this one is beautiful. There's a lot of detail to it. The outer packaging is a really beautiful white star-filled cardboard box, and this is actually the exact same outer packaging as the Celestial Pearl quad was. And then you can actually see Cosmic Pearls on the top there on the labeling. On the back, you have a little map of where you're supposed to put the shades according to Charlotte on your eyes, or how to build the look, but you really don't have to do it that way. You can just do whatever you want, totally up to you. I did go off grid a little bit and I'll explain why, but this is an 18-month shelf life eyeshadow palette made in Italy, just like the rest of Charlotte Tilbury's formulas. Now let's take a look at the quad itself, because the outer packaging of this is super beautiful for the holiday. I have heard some mixed comments from you guys when I showed the Celestial Pearl quad, which is the exact same outer packaging, by the way. You can see that both of them are the same. Like, you would not be able to tell which one until you flip them over. But these are both reflective gold, rose gold outer packaging here. You can see they both have that like mother of pearl or opal design on the inside, and then they've got these really gorgeous golden stars. But I wouldn't mind having like 1 or 2 stars, but this is kind of like a lot to look at. So it's still really gorgeous, of course, but if I was like picking and choosing, I do prefer like simple, classic, very sleek stuff. Of course, she's done such a good job with the material, with the design, but it is a little bit busy compared to some other ones that she's done. Now on the inside, we do have the quad itself, and we do have that design of that little star embossment in that bottom right shade, which will rub off. I did use it today a couple of times to apply to the eye, and it's already been rubbing off. So just like the Celestial one that had that design, this one also has the design, but it's not super firmly pressed in. It's just a little bit on the top there, so it will go away. Like I said in the previous video as well, this is actually a good thing, because I do find if there's embossments pressed too thick or too tight into the formula, sometimes the powder can sort of get packed in and make it a little bit harder to apply to the eye. So I do prefer a lighter pressed embossment, that's for sure. Now this little palette here is the exact same price as the Celestial Pearl. It's 56 American dollars or 70 Canadian dollars. I actually always mention both currencies because American currency tends to be a little bit more recognizable worldwide, and my Canadian currency is my home currency for any Canadians that are watching me right now. I love to represent that, so that's just a little, preference on my behalf there. But the Cosmic and Celestial are both the same price, which is basically my point here. And the interesting thing about the two of them is they both have widely different formulations in here. I actually found a lot more shimmer in the Celestial Pearl palette. There's a very traditional pop shade in this palette as well, sort of on the bottom. This is Celestial, by the way, sort of on the bottom left here. And there's also a sparkly like duochrome on this side, and then we have a shimmer over here. This is a satin in the bottom right corner as well, but this is widely more shimmery than Cosmic Pearl. Cosmic Pearl has less shimmer and overall more satins. There is a matte in here on the bottom left, so it is different formulation wise. So if you are somebody that really, really likes Charlotte quads, and I mean, first of all, the color stories are wildly different, of course, but the textures and formulation as well that both of them offer, wildly, wildly different. Now for my look today, what I'm going to share is how I created this one. I did go all over the lid here with this first satin shade. It does have a little bit of a shimmer to it as well, and this is one that applied really beautifully. I actually used the Charlotte Tilbury brush here from the Smoky Eyes Are Forever duo. There is a brush that comes with that 12-pan palette, and I actually already reviewed that one if you're interested in my thoughts on that as well. I do review all the holiday palettes year over year, so I'm pretty familiar with her formulas. And I feel like I can steer you a little bit with some honesty thrown in there, and hopefully, you know, doesn't make anybody upset. But anyways, I was expecting it to be relatively smooth given that this feels very similar to other formulas that are shimmery satins that she's done in the past. Now the next one I went in with is actually the Enhance shade. This one is right here. It's a really beautiful purple, kind of burgundy, interesting shade. This is one that does have a little bit of a pearl to it. How Charlotte wants you to structure it is you actually put this shade right over top of the first one. So that's what I did, and it obviously adds a lot more color, which is really stunning. I really do like this color against brown eyes. It's just really, really beautiful, sort of brings out that richness of the deep pigment in brown eyes in particular, but I also think it would make other eye colors pop too. So also no pigment fallout or anything. It just seemed to apply really, really beautifully. The brush I used with that shade is the number 1 by Rephr. It's really beautiful because it's a natural haired brush that really picks up quite a bit of pigment and just disperses it beautifully on the lid. So I like that. I like these brushes a lot, so I use them a ton. The next shade I used is the Smoke shade, which is the duochrome. So there is a duochrome in the Cosmic Pearl as well as a duochrome in the Celestial Pearl. Very, very different though when it comes to formulation as well as the shade. Now the duochrome right here that I used actually is a very interesting one. It's sort of like a teal, like bluey brown. It's very, very interesting, and it is the one that had the embossment on it. So I'll show you in some other clips, which I've already probably shown, that it was there once upon a time. But I used my fingertip for this one because I really wanted that pigment impact. You don't have to though, but a fingertip of course is very dense. It'll intensify that pigment application, at least in my experience. So I did do that, and I liked that because it offered that definition on the lid here. The biggest con, in my opinion, with this palette is the lack of diversity amongst shades. If you didn't add that shade in, it was starting to look quite monochromatic, almost like it was one big shade. So even adding the last one, this is the matte, it's sort of like a very warm burgundy brown color, and adding that in, it did add a little bit, like don't get me wrong, there's definitely some definition there. If you didn't have that other shade, like that purpley duochrome color, I do feel like it's going to be like one color almost. It looks very monochromatic as a whole without that missing shade. That's kind of my little like 2 cents on it. Between this one and this one, of course they do differ in shade, but when you layer number 2 over 1, it has a little bit of depth to it, and then it brings it closer to this color. So you do have a little bit of a one shade all over the lid kind of look going on if you don't add this, you know, purpley duochrome in there. You could also just leave it like this, right? Like you could, you know, prime the lid with this shade, which would be a little bit on the lighter side, and then you could put this one or this one in, you know, the defining corner there. That would obviously give you a ton more distinction because that first shade is quite light. But if you kind of follow it how Charlotte is doing it, this shade really comes in clutch, honestly, because then it gives you enough distinction that your look does not turn out super like one color all over the lid and not much to look at, right? So even with this color, I do think it blends in quite a bit. There's obviously some other quads that she's done that have a lot more distinction between the shades, but that's sort of how Charlotte does it. There's a lot of layering to her, you know, palettes as a whole if you actually did them structurally how she suggests. Wow, my braces. I have Invisalign, you guys know, and my teeth are looking quite straight, but they're still there. So I'm like, I have to slow down my speech. When I get too excited, it just like, blah, it slows me down. So what I was saying was that this Cosmic Pearl, I do really like it. I think the quality is there. I do like how, you know, I put a little bit of that burgundy shade underneath my bottom lid there to sort of complete the look, but I do think that duochrome is real clutch to make sure that you've got a little bit more to look at, like a little bit more of a focal point for your lid compared to just like burgundy on burgundy. So let me know your thoughts on this one. This is just a very quick review. I'm going to show you guys the swatches here as well. First with the Cosmic Pearl by itself, you can see that there's a little bit of shimmer there, and there's quite a bit of light reflecting particles. They are like pearlescent, iridescent shades. Then you'll see that I've also swatched Celestial Pearl right beside it. The Celestial Satin is more of like a golden brown, whereas this one is definitely more of a burgundy brown, so they are very, very different in shade, and the look that you get is very wildly different too. This one is quite a bit deeper and sort of reminds me of like, I don't know, I'm a bit of a wine girl. I do enjoy wine, and this is sort of like a beautiful Marlot look with like a touch of some purple. That's the thing I think of right away. What are your thoughts on these quads here? Are you going to be picking them up yourself? Do let me know. Of course, if you want to see the Celestial Pearl review, I will link it, as well as the Smoky Eyes Are Forever review. I will link that as well. And I also unboxed her advent calendar recently, so we got a lot of other Charlotte Tilbury holiday videos if you're interested. Until my next one, take care and stay safe. Bye guys!